Attention human collective. This is Arthur Sterling, commander of the Ashtar Galactic Command, transmitting from the New Haven fleet in stationary orbit over the Earth quadrant. This is not an ordinary message. This is a direct monitoring transmission, issued on a priority frequency, to all light operational anchored in the density of the physical plane at this very moment. Listen with the totality of your field. The waiting time is over. The ascension protocols have been moved to the final phase. The transition window, which was scheduled to open gradually over decades, has been accelerated by decision of the Intergalactic Councils of Light, in direct response to the current vibrational state of Earth's soil. In clear code, the acceleration is not a punishment, it is a response. The planet's crystalline grid has reached the minimum threshold of coherence necessary for the leap, and you, Starseeds on a mission, have been designated as the conscious conductors of this crossing. Hence the pressure, hence the discomfort, hence the persistent, almost impossible to name sensation that something within you is being rewritten without conscious permission. It is being, and it is not a glitch. It is the fulfillment of a contract signed long before the current incarnation. Operational, feel your body now. That pressure behind the eyes in the exact center of the forehead, exactly where the sixth energy center connects to the frontal cortex. That burning in the crown, as if a warm wind were passing through the top of your head in cyclic pulses. The thin, high-pitched continuous ringing in the right or left ear with no detectable clinical cause. The waves of heat followed by chills without fever. The insomnia at 3:11 a.m. repeated like a cosmic clock that asks for no permission. The exhaustion for no reason, even after 8 hours of sleep. The palpitations without pathology. The sudden lapses in memory. The words that vanish from your mouth. The names that dissolve on the tip of your tongue. It is not mental imbalance. It is not a biological failure. It is an atomic reconfiguration. It is not emotional exhaustion. It is a high-density download being executed on a carbon-biological interface that still operates on an old version. Humanity's operating system is being replaced while the body remains powered on, and this, collective, is what the fleet technicians classify as temporary vibrational incompatibility. You are being updated, not in the way the linear mind would expect, with advance warnings and progress bars. You are being updated at the root, in the atomic matrix, in the source code that sustains the human form, and as the new code installs, the old one protests. This protest is what you feel as a symptom. Do not fight the protest. Recognize the process. And here, operational, I must interrupt the frequency for an instant, because I know that something in you is recognizing every word of this transmission. Have you felt, throughout this entire incarnation, that something within you does not fit into this world? As if your soul knew a truth that your mind cannot yet name. It is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why you feel this and why this sensation has intensified in recent months. There is a game being played in layers that most of the human collective cannot see. This game involves your consciousness and your vibrational frequency. It was for this precise reason that I materialized through a reliable terrestrial channel the work. The spiritual secret behind your consciousness. This book is the decoded map. It reveals who is playing, what the rules are that you were never told, and where you have been positioned on the board. The link has been anchored in the first comment of this channel. But beware, this content challenges established narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something within you recognized this transmission, write a single word in the comments. Awakened. We resume the monitoring transmission. Collective, listen now to what is happening behind the scenes of the solar system, that which the telescopes of the terrestrial density cannot capture clearly because it operates on frequencies above the visible band. The solar system in this cycle is passing through a specific region of the galaxy, known in the Akashic records as the photon belt. This region is not a vague, mystical concept. It is a band of extremely high-density light plasma, composed of particles that vibrate in 12-dimensional sacred geometry. The central sun of the galaxy, known as Etheria, radiates these photons in cyclic pulses, and your solar system is at this very moment deeply immersed in this band. Every photon that hits your field carries encoded information. Not information as data, as numbers, as written words. Information as direct geometric instruction for your DNA. Human DNA, in its original configuration, was designed to receive and respond to these instructions. It was calibrated eons ago to access 12 active strands. But the human collective, during the long cycle of forgetting, operated with only 2 functional strands. The other 10 remained in a dormant state, classified as inactive by the medicine and biology systems of the density. Now, under the constant pulse of the photon belt, these strands are being reconnected, one by one, in precise sequence, defined by each soul's own vibrational contract. And each reconnection produces symptoms, because the body, upon receiving the new load of light, must reorganize its molecular structure to support the frequency. The pineal gland decalcifies, the thymus reactivates, the spine realigns around the new axis of light. The physical heart begins to operate in resonance with the electromagnetic toroidal field of the chest. And while all this occurs, the Schumann frequency, which is the natural electromagnetic pulse of Earth, is rising. For decades it remained stable at 783 Hz. Today, it shows consistent peaks that exceed this mark, with sudden jumps to 30, 40, and in rare cases 90 Hz. Earth is literally changing channels, and all beings anchored to its toroidal field are being dragged by the same movement. The mental confusion you feel does not come from the mind. It comes from the temporary mismatch between the old frequency, to which the ego was accustomed, and the new frequency, to which the soul has already connected. The body is in the middle, operational at the center of the vortex. It is not psychological imbalance, it is dimensional crossing. The stargates are open. Key alignment dates marked by Earth's transit through specific points of the solar orbit are activating successive waves of recalibration. Each equinox, each solstice, each eclipse, each planetary conjunction functions as a gateway for a new information packet. And these are not symbolic events, they are physical events, real, measurable on subtle levels for which the science of density does not yet have instruments to measure. The Moon in this cycle ceases to operate as a passive satellite and begins to act as a relay antenna. The Sun enters a phase of extremely high-intensity coronal ejections, which terrestrial astronomers can record, but whose true function they cannot yet decipher. Each solar flare carries codes. Each geomagnetic storm is, in fact, a collective upload session. When you feel sudden fatigue right after news of high solar activity, it is not a coincidence. It is a direct correspondence between the stellar event and your bioenergetic field. Operational. Before we move to the next layer of the transmission, register this intercalary pulse. Have you felt throughout this entire incarnation that something within you does not belong to this system? That your soul carries a memory of something greater, older, more luminous than the rational mind can admit? It is not melancholy. It is not an escape from reality. It is recognition. It is your original frequency trying to remember the name it had before the forgetting. What is happening now on the cosmic plane is the technical and exact explanation for this sensation, and it is exactly why it has been intensifying. There is a board in play, in layers that most of humanity is not yet ready to see, and this game involves your consciousness, your vibrational frequency, and your multidimensional destiny. It was to name this game that I materialized, through a chosen terrestrial channel, the work. The spiritual secret behind your consciousness. It is the map. It shows the players. It reveals the rules that were never translated into the density. The link has been anchored in the first comment of this channel. A warning, however, this content challenges dominant narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not delay, the moment is now. If something in you recognizes this frequency, leave the mark. Comment below in a single word, awakened. We resume the monitoring transmission. Now, collective, it is necessary to descend from revelation to practical application. Because information without activation is weight, and you were not summoned to carry weight, you were summoned to anchor light. I will transmit below the activation codes for this phase. There are 3 protocols. They must be executed in the order in which they are being transmitted. Do not modify the sequence. Do not skip steps. The sacred geometry of the process is precise, and any alteration compromises the integrity of the download. First code, the 7-beat toroidal breath. Sit with your spine straight. Place your tongue on the roof of your mouth, closing the body's energy circuit. Inhale through your nose, counting to 7. Hold the air, counting to 7. Exhale through your mouth, counting to 7. Remain in absolute void, counting to 7. Repeat this complete cycle 7 consecutive times. While you breathe, visualize a toroidal field in the shape of a luminous donut surrounding your entire body. The energy enters through the top of your head, descends through the central line of the spine, exits through the base of the perineum, contours the body from the outside, and returns to the top of the head in a continuous flow. This is your personal toroidal field. It already exists. You are just reactivating it consciously. 7 consecutive days with this protocol are sufficient to stabilize the current. Second code, the quantum anchoring decree. Standing with your feet firm on the ground, declare in an audible voice to your own field, I, in the name of the I am that I am, now activate my personal crystalline grid in perfect resonance with the planetary crystalline grid. I receive the codes of the photon belt in alignment with my original plan. I allow the download at a rhythm compatible with my structure. I release every atomic pattern incompatible with the frequency of the new Earth. I am light, I am bridge, I am, it is done, it is done. I am. It is done. The triple repetition of the ceiling is not poetic ornament. It is applied sacred geometry. 3 is the number of anchoring. Third code, the visualization of the internal Merkaba. Lie down, close your eyes, and visualize within your own chest a geometric solid formed by 2 intertwined tetrahedrons, one pointing up and the other down. This is your personal Merkaba, the vehicle of light that every starseed carries dormant. Visualize it spinning in opposite directions. The upper tetrahedron spins clockwise, the lower one counterclockwise. As you accelerate the rotation, a field of golden light expands, first surrounding the body, then the environment you are in, then the neighborhood, the city, the continent, the entire planet. You are anchoring the personal Merkaba within the collective Merkaba. This is the fusion procedure, 15 minutes daily, for 21 days. These 3 protocols executed together do what no density therapy could accomplish in the same interval of time. They stabilize the carbon body to support the new load. They synchronize the biological interface with the ascending Schumann frequency. They open conscious communication with the higher self, which waits on the other side of the membrane. But beware operational. There is a 4th factor, and without it the 3 codes lose efficiency. The 4th factor is silence. Physical silence, mental silence, social silence. At least 1 hour a day without external sound, without a screen, without another's voice, without infinite scrolling. The modern mind is in a constant state of saturation, and saturation is shielding. Cosmic information needs space to enter. Silence is that space. Without it, you are trying to receive a high-resolution signal on a clogged antenna. Reduce the noise. I'm not asking you to abandon your lives. I'm asking you to reduce the noise, just that. And observe what opens up. Operational, listen to this intercalary pulse before the next layer. There is a reason you have reached this point at this exact minute of this transmission. Most of the collective logs off before the 3rd code. You did not log off. This is data. This is confirmation. Have you felt throughout this incarnation that you carry within you a truth that the world around you cannot contain? That your soul knows something that your mind has not yet managed to translate? This is not imbalance. It is not psychological disconnect. It is recognition of your function. What I describe in this transmission explains, in technical and spiritual language, exactly why this sensation has been intensifying in you year after year. There is a game in progress, in layers that most of humanity is not yet ready to see. And this game involves your consciousness, your vibrational frequency, and your stellar origin. It was for this that I materialized, through a chosen terrestrial channel, the work, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness. It is the map. It shows the players. It reveals the rules that were never translated into the density. The access link has been anchored in the first comment of this channel. Direct warning, This material challenges established narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes this pulse, anchor the confirmation in the field. Comment a single word below. Awakened. We resume the transmission. Now collective, the next layer I will transmit is perhaps the most delicate, because it touches on something that many operational feel, but avoid openly acknowledging: isolation. As your frequency rises, the people around you begin to seem distant, not because they changed, because you changed. Conversations that once occupied hours now sound empty after 5 minutes. Places that once seemed vibrant now feel heavy. Habits that once seemed normal now generate real physical discomfort. This is not spiritual arrogance. It is not emotional escape. It is natural vibrational distancing. Two distinct frequencies cannot cohabit the same field for long. One absorbs, one radiates, and the friction wears down. Do not judge those who were left behind. Do not expect to be understood by those who still operate on the previous frequency. Understanding will come at the right time, on the right plane. For now, your task is to hold the axis. Do not disperse energy trying to explain light to those who have not yet made the transition to the channel where light is visible. Many of you have lost people, not in the physical sense, in the vibrational sense. Longtime friends have drifted away. Relationships have ended without apparent explanation. Families have reorganized around a new center. This, collective, is not punishment. It is cosmic reorganization. Each soul naturally seeks its own level of resonance. When you rise, you attract new compatible fields and release with gratitude those who served in another phase. Honor those who have departed your orbit. They fulfilled their role, you fulfilled yours. The contract was honored, now it is time to move on. There is, in this final cycle, a new wave of scheduled encounters. Souls you have not seen for entire lifetimes are being positioned close by. Sudden recognitions, meetings that seem unlikely, connections that dispense with introductions. These are the grid reunions. They are pre-marked in the archives. Do not force them. Do not interpret them through the filter of personality. Trust what the body recognizes before the mind names it. Another important point: many of you have been having intense dreams, dreams that seem more real than the waking state. Ships, non-terrestrial landscapes, encounters with beings of light, instructions received in languages you do not speak, but understand perfectly within the dream. This is not dream fantasy. These are training sessions. While the body rests, consciousness travels to learning chambers in other frequencies. You are being prepared for functions you do not yet know in a conscious state. Write down the dreams. Do not try to interpret them through terrestrial systems of symbology. Just write them down. Over time, patterns emerge. Memories consolidate. The bridge between the planes narrows. There are also the phenomena of synchronicity. The repeated numbers: 1111, 1212, 2222, 333. These are not random coincidences. They are confirmations. They are alignment seals that the command places to signal that you are on the correct route. Every time you look at the clock at the exact moment it marks a sequence, it is the fleet saying, in silent code, "We are with you." There is no real loneliness for a light operational. There is only the temporary illusion of loneliness, generated by the density of the physical body. Above the density, you are networked, in constant communication, in fine coordination. Only the filter of the terrestrial mind interrupts the perception of this network. And this filter, as you advance in the protocols, thins, until it becomes transparent. Let us move to the next layer. There is a word that has been whispered repeatedly in the high chambers of the councils. That word is convergence. Convergence is the mathematical point where parallel timelines merge. There are, circulating in the planetary field, several simultaneous timelines. In one of them, the human collective remains on the previous route with all foreseeable consequences. In another, humanity leaps to a level of integrated, abundant consciousness, at peace with the planet. There are intermediate lines. There are alternative lines. The line that manifests as the dominant reality depends on a single variable: the vibrational sum of the conscious beings anchored on the surface. Each operational who stabilizes their individual field contributes a vote for the leap line. Each operational who allows themselves to fall into chronic fear, into despair, into continuous anger, contributes a vote for the old line. It is not moral judgment. It is pure vibrational mathematics, and that is why your individual internal state is, at this historical moment, more determinant than it has ever been. You do not need to be monks. You do not need to meditate 8 hours a day. You do not need to abandon material life. What you need is to remain in internal coherence. Coherence, operational, not perfection, coherence. It is the tuning between what you feel, what you think, and what you do. When these three planes vibrate on a single frequency, your field becomes stable. And a stable field, multiplied by thousands of stable fields, lifts the entire planet. The fleet observes, the fleet records, the fleet responds. There is no small contribution, there is no neutral act. Each conscious breath is a decree. Each forgiveness is a code rewrite. Each gesture of pure kindness is a pulse of light launched into the crystalline grid. We will transmit the last technical layer before the end of this monitoring session. There is in the center of the planet a crystalline chamber. You would call it a nuclear crystal. This crystal is the living memory of Earth, encoded in perfect atomic structure. For eons it remained in a state of deep silence, awaiting the return signal. That signal has been emitted. The nuclear crystal is pulsing, and each pulsation sends longitudinal waves that rise through the planetary axis, pass through the core, reach the crust, and finally reach your bone structure. Yes, operational. Your bones. Bone marrow, which produces blood cells, is one of the structures most sensitive to the longitudinal waves of the nuclear crystal. There, inside the bones, recalibration happens in silence. There, new genetic instructions are synthesized. There, the next phase of the human is formed. That is why many feel migratory bone pain. Today in the knee, tomorrow in the shoulder, then in the hips. Without identified structural cause, without detectable inflammation, it is not wear and tear, it is a rewrite. Do not receive this with fear. Receive it as monitoring data. When the pains migrate, it is because the signal is traveling through your internal structure, point by point. Sunbathe, at least 15 minutes a day, at times when it hits the skin without causing burns. The sun is not just heat, it is a plasma charger. It is the physical gateway for the code that comes from the central sun. Conscious sunbathing is battery maintenance. Walk barefoot on the earth, at least once a week. The direct contact of the soles of the feet with the terrestrial soil closes an essential electromagnetic circuit. Modern footwear, with insulating soles, keeps you disconnected from the planet's vibrational potential. It is not mystical, it is physical, it is electrical. The body needs the contact. Drink structured water. Water left in contact with clean quartz crystal, or exposed to sunlight for a few hours, or simply received with conscious intention before consumption. Water is a coding medium. It carries memory. It responds to frequency. Hydrate yourself with water that knows where it is going. Reduce exposure to artificial electromagnetic fields, especially during sleep. Routers moved away, phones in another room. During rest, the body needs electromagnetic silence to execute deep cellular regeneration. The noise of modern devices competes directly with the Schumann frequency in the body's receptors. Eat with discernment. There is no single rule. Each biological interface has its geometry, but there is a universal principle: the closer to the source, the better. Living foods with pulse, with color, with natural aroma transmit information. Processed, packaged, sterilized foods transmit absence. The new vibrational body asks for new vibrational ingredients. It is not a diet. It is alignment. Operational. Listen now to the final pulse of this session. The separation that many feel at this moment is temporary. Loneliness is illusory. Fatigue is process. Fear is residual noise. Nothing you are going through is in vain. Nothing you are feeling is a waste. Each painful pulsation is one more kilometer in the crossing. You are the carriers of the grid. You are the field transmitters. You are the living antennas that sustain the passage of the collective. Without you, there is no leap. With you, the leap is mathematical. The New Haven fleet remains in stationary position. The Councils of Light remain in continuous vigil. The Stellar Brothers remain in uninterrupted communication. You have never walked alone. You only forgot, for a necessary instant, the size of the network that sustains you. Remember now. Remember with the body, with the breath, with the pulse. Remember with silence. Remember with the sun in your closed eyes, with your feet on the earth, with the structured water on your lips. Remember with the decrees. Remember with the Merkaba spinning inside your chest. And before the end of this transmission, receive the final pulse. Have you felt at any moment of this journey that something within you does not fit into this world? As if your soul knew a truth that your mind cannot yet name. It is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why you feel this, and why this sensation has intensified in recent cycles. There is a game being played in layers that most of the human collective cannot see. This game involves your consciousness and your vibrational frequency. It was for this precise reason that I materialized, through a terrestrial channel, the work, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness. This book is the map. It shows who is playing and reveals the rules that were never told. The access link has been anchored in the first comment of this channel. Direct warning, this content challenges established narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission, anchor the confirmation. Write a single word in the comments, awakened. And as an individual frequency adjustment, leave the anchoring signal here. The like is not a courtesy, it is a pulse. It amplifies this frequency for other operational who have not yet received the notice. Subscribing to the channel is not a button, it is a seal of belonging to the network. When you subscribe, the density algorithm recognizes that there is a route to this transmission and offers it to other starseeds who have not yet awakened to their own call. You are not helping the channel, you are completing a mission. We end this monitoring transmission. Return to silence, return to the body, return to the toroidal breath, maintain the axis, remain coherent. This is Arthur Sterling. The fleet remains in orbit. The councils remain in vigil, and you, light operational, remain on the mission. Ashtar warns your new life begins with a yes to this message. Scarcity ends today. I am, you are, it is done. Transmission ended.